So what did I think of Amazing Spider-Man issue 1?
Crap, mega crap.
Let's start with the cover, and I've never been a fan of this cover. I don't know what it is. I understand Fantastic Four being on the cover as it's putting your best-selling characters to help drive sales, but I don't like the way Spider-Man is posed in this weird tube thing. I guess the last cover was so eye-catching and bold, whilst this one is crowded yet static. I may be in the minority about this one, but it's never been my favourite cover. Our issue opens with our hero being pelted by the citizens of New York. Freak! Public menace!
What?
And there he is, oh boy, the memes I can cook up with this beautiful, beautiful character.
What are you waiting for, Chinese New Year?
The story begins where Amazing Fantasy left off, with Peter returning home after confronting Uncle Ben's killer. He throws his costume down and quits being Spider-Man, as the comic gives a quick recap for those who missed Amazing Fantasy 15. Also, I love this panel. He's like, ugh. Peter gets changed to check on Aunt May, as the landlord is expecting rent.
Give me rent!
Jesus tap dancing Christ, man. Her husband's body isn't even cold and you're demanding rent? I know the world keeps moving on, but come on. Peter hears about the financial worries. He plans to quit school and get a job to support Aunt May, but she reminds him that Uncle Ben always wanted Peter to stay in school to better himself. Peter then thinks about using his newly found powers for crime to help raise money, but if he gets caught, it would break Aunt May's heart. A few days later, Peter puts on another amazing performance on the Ed Sullivan Show. He goes to his agent to get paid. However, he will no longer get paid in cash. Due to tax reasons, he will be given a check after every show. As Spider-Man goes to the bank to cash his check in, the bank refuses due to Spider-Man not being able to reveal a real name linked to the bank account.
You're a fucking idiot.
As Peter is being rejected from the bank, a certain stubborn newspaper editor is planning to make more trouble for him. As Spider-Man returns to the TV studio, the agent reveals he is cancelled due to the Daily Bugle's latest report that Spider-Man,
A public menace.
claiming that your children will try to replicate his dangerous stunts. Celebrities are mad now about cancel culture today, but try being a star in the 60s, you get cancelled from a trip to the bank and back. Peter tries to find a job, but he gets turned down everywhere for being too young. As the public around him drags Spider-Man's name into the mud, Peter spots Aunt May entering a pawn shop, selling her jewelry for money.
How much do you think it's worth? I'll give you a couple of dollars for it. Okay.
Feeling helpless to help his aunt, he directs his anger towards J. Jonah Jameson for spreading this scandalous news. The next day, at New York's famous launch station, J. Jonah Jameson's son, John Jameson, is about to enter the rocket for a flight test. However, danger is at afoot as the rocket guidance system becomes loose. NASA tries everything in their power and launches a net at the rocket.
No, I'm not sure about that one. I don't know if that checks out.
The only person that can save the day is Spider-Man. He invades the launch base, gets into a plane, and flies towards the rocket. Don't forget, this is the same kid who couldn't get a job at the butcher's, but can fly a plane.
Makes perfect sense.
He lands on the rocket, attaches the guidance system, makes sure it lands safely, and runs away before the press arrives. Peter returns home smug, thinking his heroic acts will surely turn the public perception around. He turns on the TV to await J. Jonah Jameson's approval.
A criminal!
J. Jonah Jameson spins the story saying that Spider-Man planted the faulty guidance system and unlawfully broke into the base. Now the public hate him more than ever. But wait, this comic is a double-parter where Spider-Man takes on the Chameleon. As Peter Palmer gets ready and what? Peter Palmer? Stan, You've been on the old booze again? Now, this is a famous mistake, and Marvel have probably reprinted this story 100 times and always kept this mistake in.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Peter Palmer or Parker comes up with a fantastic idea to join the Fantastic Four to make money as Spider-Man. He reaches the Baxter building, but the front door is locked without a pass.
Let me in! Let me in!
Dressed as Spider-Man, he plans to enter the Baxter building through a top window. This sets off the Fantastic Four's alarm system and captures Spider-Man as he enters. However, he manages to escape. He uses his powers to fend off the Fantastic Four whilst trying to impress them. Mr. Fantastic breaks up the fight and asks Spider-Man why he broke in. While Spider-Man expresses his desire to join and make superhero money, the Fantastic Four inform him that they are a non-profit team and only make money through science research.
No!
Spider-Man doesn't believe them as he thinks it's bad press from the Daily Bugle that made the Fantastic Four turn him away.
Meanwhile,
we see the Chameleon use his Master of Disguise tactics to steal one half of the defense plans from the US government, as the Chameleon is a dirty commie. As he hatches a plan to steal the other half of the defense plans, a news bulletin appears reporting Spider-Man's engagement with the Fantastic Four. The Chameleon plans to use Spider-Man's financial situation to his advantage, as he will frame the War Caller while he steals the defense plans. Spider-Man has the powers and instincts of a spider, so I will send him a message that only his spider senses will be able to pick up.
that's not how
Spiders
works.
He calls out Spider-Man, promising him a financial reward if he meets him on the Lark building. Peter hears the news and web slings to the location. Before Spider-Man can reach the building, the Chameleon steals the plans disguised as Spider-Man and gets away in his chopper. Spider-Man arrives confused as to why the police want him arrested. After making quick work of the cops, he quickly realizes it was the chopper that holds the real thief. He uses his webbing as a slingshot to follow the chopper across the city. Before the Chameleon can reach the Soviet sub, Spider-Man takes a speedboat and what? A speedboat? Am I reading mild-mannered Peter Parker or James frickin' Bond?
That's got to be the best part I've ever seen. So it would seem.
He latches on to the helicopter, tears off the door and forces him to land. However, before he can hand him over to the police, the Chameleon uses a smokescreen to escape. Spider-Man and the police search for the villain. However, the Master of Disguise is, well, in disguise. The Chameleon switches off the lights to escape, but this only enhances his spider sense, as he jumps on the Chameleon to reveal his true identity to the cops. But the police want to make a double arrest, just to be sure. However, Spider-Man manages to escape, crying down the alleyway while the Chameleon is arrested. So what did I think of Amazing Spider-Man issue 1? I liked it. Not as much as Amazing Fantasy, but I liked it. A bit of retconning early on, a bit of tidy up first before diving into longer plot points. Still blows my mind that this character came out in the 60s with all the personal issues. I mean, this kid can't catch a break. We get introduced to new characters and it does set up a new status quo for Peter Parker. I enjoyed the Fantastic Four stuff, plus up until this point, Jack Kirby only drew the Fantastic Four, so it's great to see Steve Ditko tackle the Fantastic Four. In fact, this was the first ever Marvel team-up. A week later, after this comic, in Fantastic Four issue 12, the Hulk appears to fight/team up with the Fantastic Four. I just didn't like Spider-Man within this issue, you know? The character is designed to be relatable, yet he's tackling spaceships and the Soviet Union. But it's the 60s, the space race and the Cold War was in full force, so you had to relate to the common audience. Chameleon as a villain was pretty one note as well, wasn't as sympathetic as Fantastic Four's Mo-Man, or as maniacal as Loki, just there, stealing plans. I think Marvel villains were pretty hit and miss at this point. I mean, for every Doctor Doom, you had 5 eggheads or toad men. With all that being said, I'm giving Amazing Spider-Man issue 1 a C+.